Hey everyone, my name is Ben Frear. I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer who focuses on helping entrepreneurs. And today I'm excited to share the story of an E-2 visa approval that involved a vape shop business. Now I know what you're probably thinking, a vape shop? Really? Yes, and I'll explain why this type of business can actually be a strong option for E-2 visa applicants. We'll also walk through how the requirements were met in this case, including one key detail, how we use escrow to satisfy the at-risk requirement without putting the investor in a dangerous financial position. Okay, so here's the deal. In this case, the investor, a Canadian national, invested $100,000 to purchase an existing vape shop business. This included equipment, inventory, goodwill, and all the operational assets needed to hit the ground running. Okay, now let's talk about one of the most important E-2 visa requirements. The investment must be placed at risk. This means that the funds must be irrevocably committed to the enterprise before the visa is approved. So how do you do that without risking everything if the visa is denied? In this case, we used a well-structured escrow agreement. The purchase funds were placed into an escrow account managed by a neutral third-party law firm. The agreement clearly stated that the funds would only be released to the seller if the E-2 visa was approved. Now, if the visa had been denied, the money would have been returned to my investor client. But because visa approval was the sole condition for release of the funds, the US government still considered the funds to be at risk and met the requirement. This structure is great because it offers real protection for the investor while satisfying E-2 requirements. All right, next up, let's talk about substantiality. This is all about whether the amount invested is enough to show real commitment and support the successful operation of the business. In this case, the entire purchase price was covered by the investment. That's a strong sign of financial commitment. The business was also projected to generate over $200,000 in revenue in its first full year and to nearly double that by year 5. Plus, it would employ at least 2 US workers in addition to the investor's position. And that checks another critical box. The business must not be marginal. It has to do more than just support the investor and their family. It must make a real economic contribution, and this one does. So with all the business options out there, why did my client decide on a vape shop? Here's why these businesses can be great options for E-2 investors. First, they have predictable demand. Even with regulations, vape products have a steady customer base. Also, they typically have low startup or acquisition costs compared to other retail businesses. Additionally, they can be scalable. With smart branding and great customer service, it's a business you can grow through online channels or multiple storefronts. Of course, with vape shops, compliance is key. You have to understand and follow federal, state, and local regulations when it comes to vape product sales. But if you do that right, this can be a very viable E-2 business. Here are some of the other requirements that were met. The company was real and operating, not a shell. The investor had nearly 2 decades of relevant work experience, making him well qualified to direct and develop the business. And he demonstrated that he had no intention of remaining in the US permanently. And as a result of all my clients' hard work and preparation, the visa was approved after the interview. Now, my client is on his way to running a solid business in the US. If you're thinking about the E-2 visa and you want to explore what types of businesses and legal structures can work for you, I recommend that you reach out to one of the many amazing E-2 visa lawyers that you can find across the globe. Thank you so much for watching today, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comments. We'll see you in the next video.